Ready? Here we go. Everybody. We have Alan Tutt here to do our workshop today. Thank you, Alan. Please come.
I have to get the camera ready because it's kind of hard for me to record the presentation while I'm giving the presentation. Just a quick second because I'm going to pull out my notes because I have a lot of information that I want to share with everyone here. And I want to keep myself on track because even though these workshop presentations, I get twice as much time as I do with a normal presentation, anybody who knows me knows that I can keep going forever on these kind of topics. So we could be here till next week if I didn't keep myself on track. So the subject of tonight's presentation, this workshop, and I do promise it will be more of an actual workshop, more interaction than just a presentation. Changing Lives for Fun and Profit. It actually started out being a business topic because I wanted to share with you some of what we have been planning for the new WSO class that will be starting up in February. But I also want to make sure that I don't leave anyone out. So I started thinking about how this could be applied in personal life outside of business. And there's so many different ways that the same topics apply in both personal situations and business situations. So if I talk about something and it seems like I'm talking all about business, raise your hand, ask me how does this apply in personal life, and I will make sure to cover that as well. I'm going to try to keep it in mind, but if I forget, feel free to stop me and ask for information. In fact, in general, anytime tonight, if there's anything that's unclear and you have a question, feel free to raise your hand, stop me, ask a question. And if anyone wants to watch my time and make sure that I don't go too far over, let me know that too, please. Okay, so in your program, I do have a handout sheet, and you probably saw that along with the fun little gift that was also included there. I was thinking, okay, how can I make sure that everyone who attends here walks out richer than they started out being? And I figured, well, you know what? This is one way everyone can walk out a millionaire. But be that as it may, the little gift, the little $1 million bill, it's more of a symbol than anything else. It's a symbol for the value that you carry around with you everywhere you go. Because all of us have far more value that we have than we really realize. And as Master Hamid Bey will continually tell us through his lessons, the main thing that we are here to do is to be of service to other people. And the way that we be of service is to create and provide value in personal life, in business, everywhere we go, in every situation. And so that is the focus of what we're doing here today. We're providing value to the world, and in that we are changing people's lives. Now, sometimes we are changing people's lives in a small way. Maybe we just give someone an extra smile and it improves their mood. That's a change. That's an improvement. Maybe it's a big change. Maybe we can share with them some information that causes them to see life completely differently, see that they can improve their situation, that they can take control of the way that life treats them and manage the events around them in a way that provides them with what they want. Maybe we can do small changes, maybe we can do big changes, but whatever we do, we all have the value, we all have the ability and the power to change people's lives. And that's one of the things that we're going to be covering tonight. How can we do that? If we're not sure how to find that value, I'm going to be showing you some little things that you can do, questions that you can ask yourself, little games that we can play that will help reveal those hidden values. But the focus is not just on changing lives, because just about every presentation done here at the Coptic Center can in fact change people's lives and show us how we can change people's lives in one way or another. Tonight's workshop is about changing lives for a purpose. Actually, two purposes. I call it fun and profit. The fun aspect is to make sure that we can live our lives in a way that is enjoyable for ourselves. Because if all we're doing is surviving and working at jobs that we don't like, that we hate, in relationships that we'd rather not be in, that's not the way it was intended. We were intended to create our lives in a way that we actually enjoy living. And so that is also going to be one of the focuses that we're going to cover here tonight, is how can we restructure our life in a way that it is enjoyable for ourselves. The profit aspect is basically a focus on the fact that when we give value to other people, it is okay to receive value as well. And that value may be monetary, it may be something else, but it's an exchange of value. And however you see that exchange of value, we are profiting from that. If I give someone love and appreciation and they give love and appreciation back to me, that love and appreciation profits me in one way or another. And so it's not just about money, it's not just about finances, but we will be talking about that as well. So hopefully I have defined the purpose of tonight's workshop. Basically, as you'll see on the handout, there's 4 main divisions that we're going to be talking about tonight. And that's why I need to really watch my time, because I can go on for hours on each one of these. But if I focus myself to 10 minutes each, then we'll be doing just fine. The first one, finding your core value. And this is the one that most of us have a little bit of trouble determining what is the core value that I have to be able to offer the world. Some of us are pretty clear on it. Myself, I have been involved in photography for many, many years. Photography is something that I can do as a business, so there's a clear description of some value that I have that I can serve other people with. The question that comes in with tonight's workshop is, how do I do that in a way that changes people's lives? And just as an example, and that's really all I can really do right now until I start working with you one-on-one, is to give you examples. But in that example is that when I am working with someone to create a portrait, I can help them see themselves in a way that they're not able to see themselves. I'm not phrasing it as well as I could, but the idea is that when I am shooting someone's portrait, I can help them see that they are more attractive than what they believe themselves to be. Or if I am helping someone create a business headshot for their business cards, for the website, for something else, I am helping them attract more business. And so I'm helping profit them in that exchange with the photography. So that's just one example of how a value that I can provide can be used to help change someone's life. It's on a small level. It's not changing them very dramatically. They're not going to live 10 years longer because I took their picture. But it does help to some degree. Okay. In the world of business, finding out your core value for structuring around a business, there's something called SWOT analysis. And it's not swatting a fly. It's S-W-O-T, SWOT. Basically stands for strengths, finding out what your strengths are, what are you good at, what do you enjoy doing, how can you really help someone, what are your weaknesses, what are you not so good at. And these are things that you'll try to avoid doing in your business and hire other people to do if they are needed. And then we're looking at opportunities. And just to give you a basic idea, in the example of the photography, when I looked around at the Grand Rapids area there's 1,000 photographers doing portraits. There's 100 photographers photographing weddings. There's not that many photographers focusing on business headshots. So for me, that was an opportunity. There's an opportunity for an extra service in that area. And then, let's see, what is the, oh, wait. That's right. It's not a P, it's a T. Okay, and the T stands for threats. Basically, when I was looking at the world of photography, there were so many photographers doing portraits and weddings, they were the threat in the situation. And so I try to avoid the threats. I try to go towards the opportunities by focusing on my strengths and not my weaknesses. That's the basic idea of the SWOT analysis. Okay, so at this point, I need a volunteer. And I'm going to grab a chair for someone to come up and have a seat while we talk about strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. Okay, come on up.
She'll have to put her shoes on, doesn't she?
No. Okay, Alex. So what do you think is one of your strengths?
My artwork.
Artwork. And that I definitely see as a big strength for you. To explore this idea further, what types of things do people tend to compliment you on?
My photography mainly.
Photography. Okay, so artwork with a specialty in photography. So far we're definitely focusing on strengths. Let's see here.
Can you relate?
Okay, and let's see here. Okay, weaknesses. Let's go weakness. What would you think would be one of your weaknesses?
There's a lot of people, like you were saying, in the area taking pictures.
Okay, so there are a lot of other photographers.
Yes.
Okay, so the next thing would be looking for opportunities. Right, in the opportunity field. Okay, so in the world of photography, there are a lot of photographers doing different things. Is there some aspect of photography that you think is not being represented well?
Yeah.
What area would that be?
Well, my photo art cards.
Art cards.
Yeah, they're
Okay.
like a souvenir of this area.
Okay, so that would be your opportunity, is to focus on that, which I know you are doing.
Yeah.
So you're already following the program. And I guess we already talked about threats, that there are a lot of other photographers in there. Okay, so, you were too easy.
Oh.
You were too easy. But, tell you what, we're pretty much done. But since you were the first one to come up and volunteer, you get a free gift.
Thank you.
There you go.
Appreciate that.
Thank you. Okay, come on up. And this one, only the first one gets the gift, though.
What?
Only the first one comes up gets the
Oh, I'm
gift. Okay, so as far as strengths, what do you believe is one of your strengths?
Well, I'm a psychic card reader, and so one of my strengths would be my intuition.
Intuition. Okay, that I can.
But a strength besides that, though, is it took me a long time, but people tell me I have an unusual way of saying the truth about them that goes.
And that I would see is a very more focused strength. And so that probably is great that you brought that out. Okay. Is this where you tend to get most of the compliments from other people, is in this one area, or do they compliment you on something else as well?
A lot of times their compliments are kind of general. So I don't want to ask them specifics. It's kind of embarrassing. But I seem to attract a lot of college age and 20s or people starting a new endeavor of some kind where they're a little uncomfortable with themselves. And so it's not all that hard for me to see where their strengths are and where their weaknesses are, so I can encourage them. Or if it looks like that particular area draws on a strength that they really don't have, how to use what they think is a minor strength and turn it into a major one.
Okay.
But a lot of readings really half the town is intuition, but the other half is finding the words for what you're seeing.
So you've definitely focused on this whole thing quite a bit.
Well,
You're
that's
also,
right.
you're also
I
nice,
just
easy.
wanted attention.
Sure, yeah. You know what? There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. In fact, that's in our next section as far as finding a business model that fits with you. Okay, so so in terms of weaknesses, what would you think would be a main weakness kind of in the general area of what we're talking about?
At this point, because of my NDE a couple of years ago, I can't remember people's names that have been coming for years, and it's really, really upsetting. They're very nice about it, but people always think that means I don't care. I care very much, but I can't remember names.
Okay, so in terms
You're
of
Paul.
why not? Why not? In terms of what we're talking about as far as if you were to form a business around this, then that would just be something that you would find a system or some way of helping with that, either keeping notes or having someone tracking your appointments and making sure that you get that information before the person comes in to see you. So that would just be something to keep in mind as far as how to work with it or how to work around it.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
So
I'll try to remember
there's a way of dealing with that.
That's right, there is.
Oh.
That's a great idea. As a matter of fact, I can take a picture of my agenda for the day and have it right there.
Yep,
Thank you.
welcome.
You're lucky that I
You
don't
know,
wanna kiss you.
we still have a little bit to do.
Oh,
You've already jumped ahead a little bit because you did mention something about an opportunity that there's a lot of college-age kids coming to you. And that's something that I wouldn't necessarily automatically know about, that college-age kids would be interested in getting intuitive readings.
well, they're interested in the romances.
Well, it doesn't matter why they're interested in them. But that's good. That's actually very much an opportunity there that might be something to focus on. That maybe if you, in the advertising of the business, maybe if you advertised for relationship readings, then that might draw even more of those people to you and actually increase your business that way.
Actually, that's a good point.
That's an idea to
Because
think
that
about.
really is a strong point. When they tell me it is.
And as far as threats, is there some situation or other readers that are focusing in that area?
I don't worry about them.
You don't worry about them.
Well, everybody's different, and a lot of times people will go to different readers. I'm always full. I don't care.
You know, that's a very good point, because one thing I have noticed in business is that you can have 10 people all doing exactly the same thing, but because they all have different personalities, people go to the one that they enjoy that personality the best.
Yeah.
Yep.
And not only that, but I don't see anything wrong with that. It's
Right.
good.
Right. Thank you for coming up.
Thank you.
So I kind of expected to have a little bit more of a challenge in these. But the basic idea is you see how this kind of analysis works, and you find your strength, and that's the thing that you want to focus on. And again, here I recognize I am talking more business here, and I need to talk about more of a personal way, that when we are in personal relationships, if we know that we have a particular strength, for instance, if I know that I can take a complex idea and simplify it and express it in just a few words, which is one of my strengths, then when I'm talking in personal situations, then I can help someone think through an idea and rephrase it for them in a way that they understand their own situation a little bit better. And that's a way to apply this in personal situations as well. And if I know that I have a weakness in remembering people's names, which I also share with that, then I know that I either need to keep records like we were just talking about, have a picture on the phone that has the name on there. It's like, oh yeah, that's the face I'm looking at. Okay, that's the name that goes
Yeah,
with it.
but you can't have pictures go alphabetically.
No. So, okay, we covered that. I think I've gone well past my 10 minutes on this one. And Okay, so basically the whole idea is you find a balance point with all this, and that's where your key focus is. And so the next thing, if we are wanting to turn this into a business, is we want to decide what form that business will take. And in this, we're going to focus on the fun aspect of tonight's talk. And the big point that I want to mention is that there's a phrase that I use quite often. There's a million ways to make $1 million. You just have to find the one that works for you. And the idea behind that is that there are so many different ways to earn money in this world. You don't have to do something you don't like to do. You can focus on finding those tasks, those jobs, those careers that fit with you on a personal level. And if you like to be the center of attention, then that's okay, because there's plenty of ways to earn money being the center of attention. If you would rather be behind the scenes and be hidden and let someone else take the stage, you can do that too. If you like to be in front of large groups of people and talking and interacting with groups of people at a time, there's definitely ways of doing that. If you prefer working one-on-one with one person at a time, there's a lot of different ways of doing that too. And because of the way the internet works, it's also possible to earn a living sitting alone at home, not talking to anybody. How many people would like to do that? Got a few. Okay, that's good. Nothing wrong with any of that. In fact, earlier today I was thinking, okay, there's probably a way that anybody can find a way to make money doing practically anything. And I'm trying to prepare for tonight's workshop, and I was thinking, okay, what are some of the wild ideas that someone could come up with to challenge that idea? And I was thinking, okay, what if someone just wants to sleep all the time? How could they make money doing that? And I thought about it for a little bit, and then I thought, you know what? There's a perfect answer to that question too. You can get a job at a sideshow and be the human hibernator, or the hibernating human, sleep all day, be a sideshow exhibit, and get paid for that. There's probably a way of doing that. I don't know if it can be or not, but it's worth looking into. But I do know that you can get paid to take vacations. You can get paid to go shopping. You can get paid to do just about anything. There are jobs of the whole mystery shopper idea, going in, checking out stores, testing their security, all that kind of thing. It can be done and actually be paid to do that. And here again, going back to the idea of applying these ideas on a personal level, there's something called the business of living. And,
Monkey business.
well, there's that too. Yes.
How would you go about finding that on the internet as far as like how to make money taking vacations?
I'm sure the information's there. It gets involved with travel agencies and reviewing places that they haven't really listed in their catalog of travel destinations before. I haven't really looked into that myself, so I don't have a lot of details on that, but I have heard that it has existed. So nowadays with the internet and all the online reviews, that may not be as prevalent as it used to be, but it might still be possible. I know that there are companies that have buyers that travel to different countries looking for unique products that can be sold through the retail stores. And so that could be related to that as well.
I imagine if I typed in something simple like how to make money taking vacations, it would come up.
I'm sure something would come up and it might lead you to the answer you're looking for.
I happen to love to breathe myself, so I'd love to get paid to breathe.
You know, that one might stump me too. But yeah, it would be kind of interesting to figure that one out. Okay, so let's see where we at this point. Okay, so basically, yeah, it's really just a matter of deciding how you want to work. Do you want to work with people? Do you want to work with machines? Do you want to work with information and ideas? Do you want to work with physical labor kind of thing? I mean, there are some people that would prefer to just be physically active and not really have a whole lot of decisions to have to make. And so there's a way of working around any of that. Kind of looking at my time, realizing that I probably can't go into that in as much detail as I'd like to right now, but that's something. There's a way of doing anything, and I'll be available afterwards if anyone wants to talk about that in more detail. We'll just leave it at that. So once you've decided on how you want to do a business, and let me just kind of outline a few quick. I'm realizing I do need to outline at least a few quick ideas on that. For instance, there's the service type business where you're doing readings or you're doing Reiki or healing touch or any of these other kinds of services, maybe a massage therapist, photographer, musician. I mean, there's all these kind of services where you get paid to actually do the thing that you enjoy doing. That's one type of business. Another type of business is what we call an information business, where we're teaching classes or we're writing books or we're creating CD, audio, or video products, and we're selling those products, either the classes as a small group thing, could be a large group thing, classes, workshops, and the classes and workshops are kind of like a cross between the information and the service. It's a little bit of both. But then there's the strictly information business where you write a book, you create an audio product, you create videos, and you can sell products through retail outlets or through the internet. That's what my business has been the last 16 years. I've written books, I've created audio programs, I sell them through my websites. That's one type of business. Another type of business is what I call the investigative reporter type of business. And this is where you're not the expert yourself, but you interview other people who are experts on a topic, and you share their information with an audience that you've developed, that you've attracted because you do these interesting interviews. You create an audience, you attract people to you, and then there's a way of making money with that. In fact, that's one of the reasons why Oprah became a billionaire, is because she attracted such a large audience through TV because of her personality. There were so many people who fell in love with her as a person that she attracted this large audience. And whenever she brought on an expert to interview, that expert sold a ton of their products. And so she saw what was going on, got a cut of the deals, a percentage of those sales that would represent, so that anytime someone came onto her show, she got a piece of the business. And she didn't have to be the expert herself. So there's the reporter kind of thing. There's also like a radio host kind of thing where you're doing podcast or YouTube channels or any of that kind of thing, either on an actual radio station or through the internet. And you can do the exact same thing. You can interview experts. You can bring in other people to talk about different things. And then you can get a percentage of sales that result from that. So there's different ways of doing that. So that's some of the different structures that we can talk about as far as business. The type of, okay. I need to anchor myself. Okay, here we go. Start again. Okay. The next thing on the handout is talking about creating or defining a product that you offer either through business or through your personal life. And here in personal life, talking about it as a product doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's really just defining what it is that you do, defining what you bring to the situation. In a relationship, you might bring a compassionate ear, where you're a great listener and you're able to let people talk on and on and on and on, maybe for hours at a time, and they feel good because they're able to share what they have inside them with somebody else. And that is one product that you can bring into a personal situation. Maybe you are humorous. Maybe you tell good jokes. And that can also be something that you bring into a personal situation. And as far as jokes, that gets into another business model, the entertainer, someone who is such a strong personality, and maybe they are humorous, maybe they're not, but sometimes those strong personalities are so entertaining that they become the star of the show, either on a radio show or a TV show or whatever, and then that attracts an audience that way too. So there's that way. So getting back to products, it can be the thing that you do, whether it's giving classes, whether it's doing massage, whether it's giving readings. That service can be your product, the thing that you offer either through business or just in your relationships. It can also be books, CDs, DVDs, those kind of things, the things that I focus on. And one thing that I just want to make sure to let people know, we have a lot of people in this room who are experts on a topic. You know more about what you talk about more than anybody else, or at least more than most people. And you have information worth sharing. And there's only so many people you can talk to at one time, at least until you get to the national speaker level where you can have an audience of 50,000. But even then, you have limited audiences in that regard. When you want to reach the entire world, that's when having a product that can be duplicated comes in handy. For people just starting out in business, one of the things that I work with them to do is to create these products quickly and easily. There is a way that if you are an expert in a topic, if you know something about a topic and can talk about it for any good length of time, you can create a product that can be sold within an afternoon. And the idea is you essentially talk about your topic and have it recorded. And then when you're done, someone can edit that recording and put it online and put a price tag on it, and it can be sold. And it doesn't take a lot of time to do that, especially if you're focusing on an audio product. One of the things that have been really quick and easy for me to put together have been guided meditations. The way I do it takes a little bit more time, but I also do it in a little bit more polished way. I write the script first, and that can take a few hours. And then I practice reading through that script a few times, and that can take another hour. And then I make sure that my voice is in good condition, and that might mean that I need to take an hour break in there. And then I get the microphone and the recorder, and then I read the script into the microphone the best way I can. And anytime I make a mistake, I just go back and start that sentence over again. And when I'm done, I edit it, put it together, put some music behind there. It's about a day's project, maybe 2 days at the outside. So creating products for a business is not something that takes an awful long period of time. In fact, this presentation that I'm doing right now can be described as a product. Now, for tonight, I did take a few days to outline my ideas, to practice thinking through how I wanted to express my ideas, and half of what I've planned on has gone out the window, and I'm way off the rails at this point. But that's sometimes the way it goes. I'm recording it mostly for the YouTube channel, but those video recordings can be an actual product that could be packaged up for sale later on. So creating products is not something that takes a lot of time. But the basic idea that I wanted to get through on this, okay, now that I see how far off track I've gotten, is, okay, ideas for products. Okay. Does anybody have an idea for a product that you think you want to create but aren't sure if it's a good idea or not? Does anybody have an idea they want to talk about? Okay, let's go with Vamshi.
Yeah.
Vamshi, okay. What's your idea?
Doing Vedic astrology readings and reports.
Okay. I've learned a little bit about that. I know that that is something that a lot of people get into as far as astrology. It's a different form of astrology, and I know there's a lot of people that would be interested in that. So I would say definitely, because I know the market, I can say that. Most of the time, whenever you're thinking about a new product, the first thing to do is to test the idea to see if there's a demand for it. But this is something I'm already familiar with, and I know there is a demand for it. The question that we would get into is going back to this, the threats, how many other people are doing that type of astrology? Are they any good at it? Which, if they're not, then that's an opportunity. And it gets into focusing on your strengths and weaknesses regarding that. So I would say the basic idea I know is good. It's just a matter of how do you put it together. So you were easy. Thank you. Actually, because you did jump up first.
Helen, you have a question?
Yes.
You have a question?
The question is, how do you work for creating a price for your service or a product? How do you arrive at the best or the right price?
The basic idea on determining the right price for a product, whatever that product is test. And this is from the top level marketers who are really in the business of selling things to many different ways. They will all tell you that you never really know until you try. And so you try setting one price. If you get a lot of people saying yes, 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 you know the price is probably a little lower than it could be. So you raise it. And then if you raise it to a point and then everyone backs off and says, it sounds interesting, but I'm not so sure, then maybe it might be a little too high. So you find something in between there where you get a good balance where someone says, you know what? I got to think about this. Yeah, I'll go with it. So when they're on that dividing fence line, then you know you're probably pretty close to the right thing. Online, when we're doing business on the internet, it's real easy to test things like that. And you can set it as a mathematical thing so that, okay, I'm going to get into a little bit technical here, but if you have a website and you've got 1,000 people coming to the website, a certain percentage of them will make a purchase. You send 1,000 people to the website with one price, send 1,000 people to the website with a different price, do 3 or 4 of those, and then you figure out how much money did I make at this price? How much money did I make per person at each price? And then you figure, okay, if I'm making, let's say, roughly $1 per person at this price, and I'm making $1.50 per person at this price, I'm going to go with the one that makes me more per person. That's the final answer as far as how you set your prices.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We didn't hear, I didn't, what he said. I didn't hear what is it you were thinking of doing?
Vedic astrology.
Speaking that way, we didn't hear it.
Sorry. Yeah, Vedic astrology.
Vedic?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Did someone else have something? Maggie did. You were also wanting to talk about a possible product, or at least I thought I saw your hand go up.
Yeah, I was thinking about writing a book about what I do,
Okay.
or for if people want to know how to do it.
Okay. As far as that goes, writing a book takes a lot of time. And well, I would say before you write the book, if you want to know whether it's a good idea for a product or not, write short little articles of things that would go in the book. You can post those to Facebook, see what kind of feedback you get on it. If you have a blog or something online, if you did, you could post those to the blog and see what kind of feedback you get there. If we did YouTube videos or whatever, I mean, basically you get little samples of what you're thinking of doing, get it out there and get feedback from it. If you get good feedback, then that tells you you're probably onto something. Go ahead and write the whole book.
Oh, thank you, that's great.
Okay, let's see here. I'm probably getting close to ready to move on to the next thing here. The basic idea that I want to get across on the whole product idea is that it doesn't have to be perfect. It's one of those ideas. It's better to have it done than to have, it's better to have an imperfect finished product than to have a perfect idea for a product. One of the things that I keep going back to on this is I don't know if Microsoft has ever produced a perfect product. Right, right. So if they're one of the biggest companies in the world,
That's why there's always updates.
right, always updates, always fixes, always trying to improve what they put out before. So you don't have to worry about trying to make a perfect product. It never,
Because about every
I don't think it
7
ever
years,
has.
about every 7 years, they have to reinvent themselves,
yep,
which is why Windows 7 is going to go out of support in January.
yep. And I'm not looking forward to that because I don't like Windows 10.
That's the
Windows
only-
8 was okay, but
That's
Windows
the
10,
only other choice. Unless you want to go Linux, that's the only other choice.
right, or Mac.
My sister got caught up in a scam where she was trolling the internet for hotel room prices, and because she was using a Mac, the most expensive rooms came up first because they figured, well, she has a Mac, she can afford more money.
That's the first I've heard of that, but I can see where that's possible.
It's happened.
Okay, that's good to know. Okay, so we went through number 3. Okay, so the last step in this process, trading value for value. In business, that's called making the sale. In personal life, I guess it's just making friendships, developing relationships, the give and take. So, once you have products in place, and here I'm talking in business, the marketing of those products and services is going to be where you spend the majority of your time. It's kind of the 80-20 rule. 20% of your time is in creating or providing creating products, providing service. 80% of your time is in marketing, at least for most businesses. Okay, so when we are marketing a business, and this is a topic that's come up here at the Coptic Center in the marketing committee. How do we market the center? How do we get more people here? How do we get people market the center here?
Oh, I thought you meant SINNER.
Oh.
That's good.
Well, let's see. That might get a few people in. Yeah.
We're all feminine.
Okay. So how do we get more people coming in? Whether it's into the Sunday night experiences, whether it's into the different classes that are happening here, whether it's into the master courses that the Coptic Center puts on and provides access to. So the whole idea of marketing a business, and it doesn't have to be a profit business, it can be a nonprofit business, it can even be just if you're single and you're looking for a relationship, how do you get the word out there so that the right people come to you or come into your sphere of influence? And a lot of it gets into how do you describe what you have to offer in a way that other people will respond to it. And there's way too much to cover in a short period of time. But the basic idea is that you want to focus on what your product, what your service will actually do for somebody rather than what it actually is. The example that I have for that is that I have a USB thumb drive here. It fits into your computer. It holds about 16 gigabytes of data. Is there anybody that would give me $100 for it?
What's on it?
Exactly. There's not enough information there to make the sale. Well, I can tell you that there's a whole bunch of MP3s, there's a whole bunch of PDFs, there's a whole bunch of material on there.
Are there any of them treasure maps?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
In fact, there is a report/book that I wrote a few years ago called The Treasure Map to Online Riches. Actually, what is on here is the sum total of every product that I've created over the last 15 years. Since I started my online business in 2003. There are about 8 or 9 books. There are a number of guided meditations, hypnosis programs, and a subliminal program that if you were to burn it onto actual physical CDs, would take 120 CDs. There's a ton of material in it. Now, who might be interested in actually paying money for that?
What does it do for us?
Exactly. Exactly. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what format it is. It doesn't matter how much of it is. What will it do for you? That's the perfect question. And that is exactly what I was looking for. Let's see. Did you already get one? I don't think you did you? No.
I
Okay.
wouldn't tell you.
Okay.
That's friends.
That's fine.
Thank you.
By the way, the book that I'm giving out as little surprise prizes here, in the 16 years that I've been doing business online, this one book has been the #1 best source of information on how to market a business, how to structure a business, how to create products for a business, and how to make money from it. Everything that we've been talking about today is outlined very clearly in this one book. And it is the best source of information that
Are
I've
you
found.
using this in your class?
Actually, we will be covering some of that and a lot more. And just for reference, when I say that's the best that I've run into, I'm talking about it is better than some $2,000 marketing courses that I've seen. There's one program that I've been going back over again that I picked up quite a number of years ago, ended up buying it on the payment plan and decided not to finish the payments because the guy the information was not well organized and it was decent information, but I don't think it was worth the $2,000. But it's okay information. Let's just leave it at that. And this book that I've been passing out beats them all. So it's good.
What's it called?
It's called Expert Secrets. And I do have 1 or 2 others that I can sell you.
Is the USB really $100?
You know what? The lowest price that I've ever sold this entire collection online was $159. You know, I don't really need the money that much. There's plenty more where that came.
There's creativity.
So that was really just an example. It's not about what your product is. It's about what your product can do for others. That is how you attract people into your business, into your sphere of influence, to where you have the opportunity to provide value to these people and change their life. So we've covered all the basic ideas that I wanted to get into. Some of this last part also means that we need to look at who is your target audience, who are the types of people that you are most likely to be able to help. If you are teaching people how to dance, for instance, it's probably not a great thing to go into a community that forbids dancing. If you're looking to give psychic readings, it's probably not a good idea to go into some areas where they think that's the work of the devil.
Yeah.
The whole idea that you want to find places and groups of people that resonate with what you're wanting to offer. In terms of my photography and doing the headshots for business owners, the best place for me to go would be where business owners congregate. Things like Chambers of Commerce or Lions Club or any of these kind of organizations where business owners tend to come together. Networking events would be another thing for the photography business. It's all about finding the people who are likely to be interested in what you have to offer. So that's pretty much all I really wanted to cover on this. 2 things that I want to talk about in terms of where you can, okay, let me get my mouth back under control here. If you like what we've covered tonight and you want to take it further, if you want to go further with this information and really dig in deep with it, there's two different pathways that you can take. And the first pathway that I want to talk about is if we're talking more along the lines of personal life and becoming a more empowered individual, and whether or not you take that into business or another form of leadership or not, doesn't matter. But if you want to take the basic ideas of stepping up, providing value to the world, and changing lives, one of the ways that we can take this further is through the newly designed WSO class that we are putting together for 2019. John and I, along with Michael and Barb Hunninga, are working to put together a new WSO class that is more tightly focused on helping you step up and become the leader that you know you can be. And so anybody who's interested in more information there, we've got two different brochures that give you a little bit more information on there. John, did you end up getting those registration sheets if someone wanted to register tonight? Okay, so we do have a way for you to register for the classes tonight if you want to. I would say grab a brochure, talk to John after the service, and that would be the way to go for that direction. If you are more interested in pursuing these ideas for a business topic, starting or enhancing a business, I have planned out what could be an 8-week class. And because it's going to take so much work on my part to put this together, I need at least 10 people who are wanting to sign up for it before I will actually make it happen. So right now, no one can actually buy into it, but I do have a sign-up sheet. If you're interested in the class, once I get enough people signed up, I'll contact you, let you know when the dates are, and then we can move forward with that. The back of the handout kind of gives a brief description of what that class would be. The different sessions, we're going to be going into all of this in much more depth, defining what your mission is in the world, where your core value is, how you can structure that as a business. We'll map out what a product line can be for your business, whether it's services or whether it's an actual physical product or digital product. We can map that out. And that would be week 2. Week 3, we would actually set up a website for you if you don't already have one. And if you do have a website, we will go into depth into, does it meet the criteria necessary for actually making sales online? So week 3 would be all about setting up a website that is going to actually make you money. And that right there, if I were to do that for you separately, that's a $200 value. So that's included in this class. Then we get into marketing. And week 4 is about creating some of your initial marketing materials. How do you attract people into your area of expertise? How do you actually get people to your website? And how do you get the right people to your website? And then once they're there, then we go into what week 5 class is going to be and define what your entry product would be, the first product that you would sell to them. As an example, on my website, I am restructuring that so that my first product that people have a chance to buy is going to be a $20 package with a book, with a set of guided meditations and a few other things. But that's going to be my entry product about my harmonic prayer system, but that's just my business. We would actually work with each person in the class to figure out what's the best thing for you. And then week 6, we would also talk about creating a back-end product, a much larger product, a much more expensive product, where you could actually make a good profit. And as I was talking about earlier with creating an audio product in an afternoon, creating these big products doesn't have to take a lot of time either. In fact, that's one of the things that I'm demonstrating to you right now is I have created an 8-week product. And if I get enough people to do it, then that product has already been created. It's just a matter of doing doing the classes. And then obviously, because I'm a big believer in recording products and having digital products for sale, I will be recording each of these classes, not only for those who are going through them, but also for other things down the road. So there's basically 8 weeks worth of material, somewhat described back there. And here again, if you're interested in it, then I would say, let me know. We'll figure it out. It's not going to be cheap. I hemmed and hawed on what the pricing would be, but basically $50 per class, and you can go as far into this as you want. I've structured it so that you can quit at any time and get the best value out of it. The ones at the end, like creating actual products, are only for people who are really interested in doing that. You don't have to go through the whole thing just to get into it.
Now, are these going to be in-person classes or
Yes.
online?
This would definitely be in person. It would be here at the Coptic Center. And this would definitely be a time when I bring in my laptop, I set up the screen, and we go through some things directly online. Anybody who's got a laptop can bring it in. We will actually do it right there. And I would also be available before and after the classes for other questions. So
Alan,
describes what it is.
on your week 3, setting up a working website, again, a pertinent question, but I would need to pick your brains on the up-to-date technology behind, picking a name for your website, something.net, something.com.
Right.
Years and years ago, when it was an open field, my dear friend Kit Thomas had started a website with his first name, kit.com. And he got a call from a stranger, and the stranger asked him how long he wanted to continue working with this name, because it's going to be expired in another 4 or 5 days.
Okay.
And he told him, he said, well, I don't think I'm going to renew it. He didn't know the call came from China, and that the company was willing to cut a check for $50,000 just to have that name, just to have kit.com. So are those opportunities still available? You still have to register a name, so then
Right.
there's registration of the name on the internet lasts from 6 months, 4 months, 30 days, 1 year.
1 year.
And if
You
that-
can register a domain name for up to 10 years at one time, and it does not go, it is not available for anyone else to register until it is actually expired. So you can register it for up to 10 years, and then a month before it is up, you can renew it for another 10 years, and then there's no chance anyone else can get it without you actually making the choice or forgetting to register it.
So what's the shortest term of registration?
Shortest term would be 1 year.
So that's come a long way.
You can't hear him.
But that's still a viable opportunity if you have the
Right.
creativity to come up with a name and you're the first one to post it.
And-
Is that not a business concept?
It is. In fact, he's asking about domain names as far as the website and registering and what the opportunities are there, because there are companies that will buy and sell domain names for a lot more than what the basic registration costs. Just as an example, at one time, I had the domain name harmonicprayer.com for one of my product packages. And at one time, I decided to let that go. I was paying about $9 a year for that domain name. In the last week, I went to check on getting it back again. Somebody has bought it and wants to sell it for $1,300. So technically, I could have had that for 100 years and paid less than that.
Who are you registering the name with? So that's almost, that would be a parallel.
Well, the thing is I decided to let it go. So it's been a few years since I've had
I mean,
it.
when you did have the name, or if you acquired a domain name now,
Right.
who are you registering it with?
I go through the GoDaddy system. It's just the basic. And let's continue this afterwards because we don't need to hold everyone up for that. Sorry about that, everyone. So basic information on what the 8-week class could be. If you're interested, let me know. I will get your name on here, and if I get enough people sign up for it, we'll actually do it. That's really all we needed to do at this point. Thank you for coming. I hope I have provided some value for you. and I am definitely willing to answer any other questions you may have. So, thank you.
Thank you, Alan. That was wonderful.